Now I'm the third point, which is that I would like to emphasize on this, because this was the cause of problem in America between parents and first generation Muslims, Americans, meaning that children were born to parents who are immigrants. Or sometimes is that even if the children are Muslims, parents are not Muslims. Sometimes there's a tension there. And the problem is this, that the children have experience a new world than the parents did. You know, if you ask someone very old like myself, this is a joke by the way, what did you do when you were teens? What kind of environment do you have? I can assure you I'm old enough. In my time, there was no internet when I was a teen. Okay? And there was no cell phone. I can ensure that. And I would like to tell you that I have no experience whatsoever with Hollywood. It happened that I didn't used to go to a movie myself, but I didn't have experience with it. What they call it, soap opera? Soap opera, I didn't have experience with that. Jerry Fell, or what's his name? Jerry Springer and so forth. I have not seen those when I was teens. Okay? Or Reiki something. I was hearing this lady, was her name, very tough Jewish lady on the radio. What her name is a counselor, Dr. Laura. She said that don't have your children to listen to this trash. She's called it trash. Springer and so those kind of people. And very interesting, I heard on the radio, and my wife said, don't ever quote that, but I'm going to do that. You know, consider disobedient here. But the lady, her name Madonna, she said on radio, was interviewed, that she did not allow her children to watch TV, her child. Said because the TV is not good, have not good effect. And she's a singer, I think. Therefore, it is a problem that we do not realize there's a new world. The other thing is that the culture around us, the environment around us, and sometimes preferring culture over Islam. Culture become more important. I want my children to be more Sudanese than Muslims. Very important for me to be Sudanese. They have to eat malokhia and weka and to wear Sudanese robe. But I don't care about how Islam is. But as long as they know Sudanese song, as long as they know all Sudanese singer, as long as they speak Sudanese dialogue, I don't care about how much Qur'an they memorize. Culture become more important than Islam itself. Not only that, sometimes we want to create a Sudanese country in our house. The children, the minute they step in the house, you live in Sudan. The minute they step outside, you live in America. Very confusing, unfortunately. And the culture of Islam being lost. Islam is not the criteria here. Therefore, I would like to say very much to us as a parents, that we have to remember to teach our children the culture of Islam and to make them proud being Muslims. But at the same time, we have to understand where they come from. And that requires, which is I'm going to give some suggestions, specific suggestions, to know the environment that surrounds your children, to understand where they come from. The problem is that we want to enforce Sudanese culture on the children who are not purely Sudanese, no matter what I wish. If I want them to be pure Sudanese, then let me raise them in Sudan. I can never get pure Sudanese children in this country. Forget about it. I know it. I don't live in illusion. I'm talking culture-wise. Because my children are exposed to American culture. But I have to teach them Islamic culture, Islamic teaching. I want my children to know Islam filtered from Sudanese culture. They have the best opportunity. They can know, brother, you can look to your children in their eyes and they can tell you that I don't think this is what Islam teaches. Are you really, do you mean this, or this is a Bengali culture, or this Pakistani culture? Are you insisting on this? Even in the weddings, how we want to do our weddings, or everything else, we insist in certain things that the children disagree with it, and we make it as if it's make it or break it. It's halal, haram issues, and it's cultural. Therefore, it is important, there's a duty of the parents to understand what their parents, the children, I mean, they come from. The other thing is gap of generations. Even if you live in Sudan, or you live in Bangladesh, or you live in Egypt, there's a gap of generations. That what your children go through in schools is different than what you went through. In certain generation, smoking was a big thing. Now the issue of drugs is the problem. You know, therefore there's a gap of generations. You know, and we have to understand that as we raise our children. The other thing is that we hold so dear to our heart. That is our expectation based on the culture environment that we grow up in. My children has to marry Sudanese. My children have to participate in Sudanese functions, all of them. That doesn't mean that I should not have my children be proud of their culture. Nothing wrong with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, خَلَقْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And upon my advice on my wife, and I think it is a very wise advice, I have to insist speaking Arabic to my children so that they be bilingual, speaking two languages. Let your children know Bengali language. Let them know Urdu language, because it's good to know other culture language and the culture of the origin. It's good to know that. But I would like to say that some people overemphasize on the cultural aspect of it, and they forget the principles of Islam. It's very important in order to save our children. What Allah says in Qur'an, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Others who believe, protect yourself and your family from a hellfire. The fuel of it is men and stone. What would protect my own child from hellfire if I love my child dearly? I have to make sure that my child does not go astray. And I should not also, sometimes we become extra nice in having children go astray. Some people go to the extremes. I said, brother, why didn't you teach your children this? Or sister said, brother, they grew up in this culture, therefore, how can I tell them to pray? You should tell them to pray. You should teach your children how to pray. Don't become overwhelmed saying, okay, there's a distance between me and my children. I'm not going to expect them to pray because they live in America. I'm not going to expect them to fast because they live in America. Some people ask their children to break their fast because of physical education. Basketball becomes more important than pleasing Allah Himself. This is a problem also. Is the parents either go to the extreme in this way or extreme in that way? This is not acceptable. Practice Islam as it is. Which is Islam strike the balance between all aspects of life. For it is very important for us to have that in mind as we deal with our children. In this culture, children learn to be very much independent. And my advice to the children, again, sometimes individualism overtaken the concept of community and family. It's me, me, me. If it wasn't me, or my way or a highway, I can sacrifice my parents' relationship, my everyone's relationship, if it was not centered around me. And this self-centered culture or attitude is very destructive. Destroy families, destroy communities, and destroy nations. It creates dictatorship also. Therefore, it is very important for us that the not to be as such. Okay. Learning to communicate. Communication is not about only language, symbols, not about is and was, but about what the person, what kind of cultural language that person speaks. For example, the parents who doesn't know internet, they don't know how it works, the children can be easily fall into the trap and troubles and problems. Because internet also exposes, there's so many things the internet is not good these days. You have to be familiar with the environment. You have to be familiar with what's going on here. It's very important. We have to remember that the children are the gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is Allah is the one who grants children. Therefore, we have to treat this gift as the best to our ability to be gentle with it. And many parents, they don't understand that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Qur'an, يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ. He creates whatever He wishes. يَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا. He gives whomever He wishes female children. وَيَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ الذُّكُورِ. And He gives whomever He wishes male children. أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا. Give them male and females. ويجعل من يشاء عقيما. You find some people don't have ability to have children. For it is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to cherish that gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us.